Hey everybody, this is Roctavia with Rock News UK, and I am here with Hardwicke Circus. Did I pronounce that right?
That's right. We've had Hardwicke Castle before, and that's definitely incorrect.
Hardwicke.
Hardwicke Circus, you're right.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and let everybody know who we're talking with?
Sure, well, I'm Jonny. I sing in the band Hardwicke Circus, and we come from a place called Carlisle in Cumbria, which is the most northern city in England. We're practically Scottish, and yeah, this is a town with a lot of history, formerly known as Luba Valium in Roman times, and but here we are, modern and present.
Awesome. So again, what I like to do here is I love to introduce new and up and coming bands, whether they be from the UK or the US, so that everybody out there gets a chance to get something different in their music rotation. So we're gonna go ahead and get to learn a little bit more about this up and coming band, Hardwicke Circus. So here we go. I have a couple of questions I gotta ask you. I've been dying to know. There are 6 of you guys, right, currently?
6 of us, yes.
How did you all meet? How did you all get together?
I don't know, and it seems like there's just more people joining the band every day, to be honest with you. We are mainly at school, basically. We all went to the same school, secondary school, and there would be these rock nights every term, maybe 4 a year, and all the school bands would play covers and stuff, and I would sit there and year by year poach a new member from each band, and that's kind of how we came to be, I suppose. Tom, the drummer, is my brother, so we've got a connection there, so that made sense. We'd always, be playing covers in the attic. Piece of My Heart, Janis Joplin was a big one that always annoyed the neighbours. And so that's kind of what we started jamming, I suppose, when we were younger.
I love Janis Joplin. That's awesome. You guys already have great taste in music.
Well, I hope so. So that's kind of how it started, and then through me and Tom, we met all the other members, and yes, we're still going.
Awesome. So, another thing that I wanted to know, how did you really get into the whole starting a band situation? Like, what inspired you to do it? Like, I know everybody says that, I have a favorite musician, or I was listening to XYZ song, or this really made me want to pick up a guitar or the drums or whatever. How did you get into it?
I think I've had a couple of points where I've been totally inspired, to perform in a band before I was even in a band. The first being, the classic one, hearing all your parents' record collection, all them tracks, and then moving further back. So, you'd start typically on the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, of course, which are stood at the very front of the car. And then you'd move back and you'd discover blues-eyes, Robert Johnson, Charlie Patton, and then the folk singers kind of came about. And when I heard obviously Bob Dylan and Woody Guthrie and Dave Van Ronk and all them guys, that kind of turned everything on its head and sent me back to square one. And so it was hearing them kind of singers and them songs for the first time. That was my road to Damascus. That made me so excited and feel like I want to get up there and I want to play them songs and I want to know what that's all about. And so when I heard them songs and then second played them, I've got a guitar, I learned to play them, the 3-chord songs, and then sing them to people. That was a feeling like no other, and that totally inspired me to it made me want to play with other people and to experience that thing that all my kind of heroes then and now were experiencing. And further down the line, I watched a movie called The Last Waltz, which is about the band. It's the band's final concert. And for those who may not know, the band were Bob Dylan's backing band, and they were a band in their own right, more so than any other band in my eyes. They're my favourite band of all time, and they released a couple of great albums with 5 very individual players, all striving for one musical goal, and that's a collective like no other. Anyways, in 1976, they recorded their final concert in San Francisco, and it was filmed by Martin Scorsese, And more than a concert, it was a big celebration of
Yeah.
all of their long history as a band, where they invited their heroes, Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, Neil Diamond, all these incredible artists, too many to list. And they filmed that, and I saw this film, and I remember seeing it thinking, oh my Lord, that's music like I've never heard it before. And the way everybody was playing, everyone was playing inside of the song. They were, inhabiting it instead of trying to attack it. It was incredible, and that really inspired me to my kind of current vision of what a band should be. So a couple of things, that really kind of got me going. That and wanting to go to the pub.
Yeah. That makes sense. You get a free pass in there. Hey, he's the band, let him in, right?
Yeah, too right. I remember my first ever gig was when I was like 13 something, and there was a local Hells Angels biker club in Carlisle, and I remember like my dad, I don't know how I convinced him to take me down there, but we went with my guitar in the back of the car and pulled up, and I remember the owner, the Hells Angels owner of his pub, came out, and he was terrifying. He was kind of clad in leather from head to toe, and he had bald geezer, but he had like a skull on his head. And
wait, he had a skull tattooed on his head? He had a skull
tattooed on his head, like all on his head. And as a 13-year-old boy going in a pub is scary enough. But then when I was met with that, it kind of freaked me out a little, but motivated me like nothing else.
I don't know. I could really get behind all that. Like, I love motorcycle culture and bikes and all that stuff. So you were exposed to it way earlier than me. Like, you got one up on me. I was all evil Knievel, and you're right in it with the pubs and the Hells Angels, straight away.
Yeah, it's the Wild West up here, believe me.
That's perfect. How'd you guys come up with the name for your band, by the way? I was curious about that.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, being from Carlisle, whenever we travel the country, we always say to people, we're that band from Carlisle, but originally, and people say, well, where the fuck is Carlisle? And we say, well, anticipating that question, we thought we should have a name that, locates us geographically. So as soon as you drive into Carlisle, the road in and the road out of Carlisle is all run off this roundabout or trajectory system called Hardwicke Circus, and it's a famous, it's almost an institution in this part of the world. So we figured we've got to name ourselves after that, and that's where I can hear, you can probably hear the traffic now through my microphone, and that's coming from Hardwicke Circus, so there's no escaping it.
Perfect. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah. Tell us a little bit more about your sound so that everybody can, they need to go listen to everything straight away, but for people who are just popping into the interview, tell us like what your sound profile is like for your band.
Sure, well, I suppose we're a rock band. We have, two guitars.
Makes sense.
the classic, but we've got a wild saxophone player and a keyboard player who's like nothing you've ever heard before. And it's all founded in good songwriting. Unless there's a song that's played, we're not going to jam it out. We're going to make sure we've got something to say, and there's a musical journey between us all that we're going on. So when you hear, if you go on our Spotify and Apple Music, there's some bits on there that are kind of a little older. But up to now, with the album and the latest singles, there's a good development, I feel, between what we were doing and what we're doing now. And it's nothing concrete. I think there's always frustrates me slightly when bands proclaim that they've arrived at their sound, as if they've found, rediscovered the wheel. That's not it with us. We're on a musical, it's a continuation project. 6 guys, all very individual, all playing, coming from different angles with different influences, a lot of jazz, a lot of soul, a lot of blues, a lot of kind of hip-hop orientated drum beats. So it's a long collection of things that we are forming into, hopefully we've formed into the Borderland album. And so I suppose that's our sound. And ultimately we're a live band. This sound is playing live in a way inspires the music for us. it allows us to develop. You can't fake that in a rehearsal room, no matter how much time you practice. So we've spent the last couple of years touring the country, playing in a nook and cranny, every pub, club. You know, they call them toilet venues, but more like a they're more like a home to us at the moment.
Those
You know,
those are
playing
some
all
of the
these
best
venues.
venues though. Legitimately, like those that some of the best nights go down in those types of venues.
Oh no, absolutely, and that's what we love doing and do love doing because we can connect with the audience and have a real. We've been playing in prisons, you know, and that's I think that's very unique. I don't know any other band doing that,
Really?
and we have some of the best times doing that. We
Can you tell us more about like how how that came about?
I think we were playing in. Our manager has been involved in prison gigs before, but we were playing in the south of England, and one of the governors from the prison was there, and he said, you want to come down and play for us?" So, you know, we probably can't tell, but we've none of us look like we've or have ever been locked up before, apart from the saxophone player. But we are, or maybe you should have
Wait,
been.
I actually play the saxophone.
Yeah, there's something
That's
about you.
why I moved it.
You can never find you. You know, before the gig, it's always like, where is the saxophone player? Getting arrested or something. So no, but we played in these prisons, and it was a really incredible experience for everyone in the band. We played 50-minute set, um, and and then afterwards we do a Q&A session. So the inmates are invited to ask us questions about anything really, but mainly about being in a band or the music industry or what it's like to play in a prison for them. And it's just really good, that two-way connection. And you can't, and that's like no other gig or gigs we've ever played before. The things you learn off playing to an audience, that environment is so unique. These things that have formed our sound, and it all adds to where we're going.
That's 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 pretty fantastic. That's pretty freaking cool because what it brings to mind is Johnny Cash and Folsom Prison Blues and
Yes.
playing for those type of crowds. That's pretty rock and roll right there.
Well, it really goes off, man. Believe me, there was one time, and it was such a good atmosphere. Everyone was singing and dancing, and it was in the prison chapel, and you know, it was such a good atmosphere. You know, the whole room was singing along to our songs, and even coming up on stage and doing rapping along to our music, or singing, or doing poetry along to our. So it's a really great experience. And it was such a good time one time that the guards on the outside thought something dreadful must have been going on because there was such like a loud noise going on. But then we had to reassure them that actually this is it's just a great kind of spiritual hour for us and for the inmates. And so we loved it, and so we've organised another prison tour that will hopefully be going on in the autumn. So it's really fantastic, and yeah, look forward to doing more of that.
Oh man, I need to get back over to the UK.
Yeah,
Good
yeah. Have
lord.
you been? Are you in the
Yeah,
UK much?
yeah. So in the before times, before the
Yes.
world imploded, in 2019, I popped over there twice actually. Um,
Where
the
did you go?
the first time I, you know, I was just at the O2 in London, didn't get very far, but the second time I went over there, I kind of went all about uh, like everywhere, like Bournemouth
Yes.
and uh, uh, Manchester and Edinburgh and just I'm gonna
Edinburgh's
say it
pretty
wrong.
far north.
Yeah. Oh man, what a crazy night! So much fun there. Like
I
I don't know how anyone could go there and not have a good time.
I was hoping to say Edinburgh because usually people say I went to the north, man. I went to Manchester, I went to Leeds, so and that's not the north. So I'm pleased you said Edinburgh.
I did happen. I happened to
Gets you off
pop
the
up there
hook.
too, but
Yes.
um, how do you say it? Is it Leicester? I always want to say it
Leicester,
Leicester.
yes.
Leicester, yeah, American. Um,
No,
but
Leicester's
yeah,
right.
we 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 had a really good time, and you know, I would love to head back over. And I haven't been to Ireland at all, and I supposedly have heritage there, family. Not supposedly, I do.
Hmm.
Wanting to check out everything out that way. I've never been, and I would love to see a couple of gigs out there. Um, that would be really cool.
Well, no, it's an incredible vibe out there with music. There's a real rich tradition and understanding of music, like no other place in the world. We played there in Dublin and Belfast with the Boomtown Rats, Bob Geldof band, and yeah, just really incredible. There's a certain understanding there that us Brits don't always kind of latch onto. But some of my favourite music and folk music, were
Yeah,
the Dubliners and the Clancy Brothers and all
yeah.
the ballads. Um, yeah, really inspiring.
Some of the stuff that's like closest to my heart is some of the folk music for sure. Um, but yeah, it would be really great to see what that was all about. I got a chance in 2019 to also go to France and Italy. I also have some heritage with Italian heritage as well. So heading to Italy, we went to Milan, and that was amazing. It
Hmm.
was so much fun. But I'd love to get back over there when the world allows and see as much, go to as many gigs, see as much music as possible, humanly possible.
No, I feel you. I feel you. There's the one kind of silver lining I hope is that now things are opening up. People are rushing out and wanting to get back to gigs and feel that excitement again.
How do you
I
feel
think
about the
that's been built
festival
up.
circuit? Like, have you guys done anything big with festivals or anything like that?
Well, we've done yeah in the past couple of years we've done like Glastonbury and Isle of Wight and Reading. So we've done some great festivals which we've been really lucky to play at. But also some other great kind of more independent festivals. There's one called Kendal Calling near us, which is an incredible festival. And Soulfest and played at Greenbelt, and we've done quite a lot of festivals. I'll have to check my diary to name them all for you, but yeah, I know the festivals, and it's a shame this year. There's a lot of sports that have been able to go on. The football and everything, but music venues and festivals have somewhat been left behind. We're kind of being led by a tin pot government who has no regard for the arts, and that's a real shame. And face this
Yeah,
year, it's really hitting the festivals hard. Some are having to cancel when it's been proven that through trials that actually this can be done safely and it won't
right,
cause a spike in infection. And that's talk about following the science and the data. That's what they need to look at because it's shocking, really.
right. 100%. Wasn't today supposed to be Freedom Day?
Well, yeah, yes, it was. Right now is going to be Freedom
Yeah,
Day,
right now it was
24th.
supposed to be, but it
Right
got
now,
pushed back.
yeah, it did. And we were meant to be doing basically. There's our sound guy, Mr. Jason Randall, is from New Zealand, and we met him a couple of years ago when he was traveling through the UK
Yeah,
on his way to Europe, much like you were doing, and he was with his partner at the time, and they were traveling in a camper van. But he parked up in Carlisle one night and heard this noise coming out of a bar, and it was us playing, and he came in and he said, "Oh, I'm a sound guy. I'm a sound guy. I want to like help do your sound." So he kind of stuck around for a couple of weeks and followed us around our gigs doing our sound.
cool.
And then the ultimatum came where his partner, who's so lovely at the time, said, "It's me or the band now. I'm going back to New Zealand. Like you have to come with me.
No.
Like if you don't come with me, I'm leaving." So, anyways, he's like, "No, I'm staying. I've got to stay with the boys." So, a couple of years down the line, he's still in Carlisle with us, and he's getting married in like 2 weeks' time. And we had this big plan
Yeah.
that we would play in a church. Like we would do a gig in a church and we would marry him before the gig. So it would mean that, people buy a ticket and like the support act is a marriage. We thought that would be a great idea. But now because of the lockdown has been extended, we've had to cancel the gig and move it back.
Oh,
So that's how it gets in the way of things. So we've moved it to the 19th next month. So we'll still be playing in the church. Well, I was baptized and my parents were married, so but that would have been a great time. But that's just what it does. And for other bands, not even for bands, for the independent venues that can't afford the insurance, it's been such a dreadful
Right.
time for everybody. But I just hope we can. When it opens up, as you say, there's a real want to get out into the music venues again.
Yeah. One, ultimatums are the worst, so he picked the better choice. I'm guessing because he's still with you guys. Two,
I hope so.
Yes.
We can't let him down now. I know. Well, he's gotten engaged and he's getting married, so we must have done something right. He must have done something right.
Yeah. So it turned out perfect then. And
oh yeah, happy ending.
I love the fact that you mentioned independent venues because that's a cause after my own heart. Back when all this started, that was the first thing that I jumped on, like getting the word out about, hey, here's ways to support your artists, not only your artists, your independent venues need you. Because I guarantee you, we're not going to see them for a long time. They were the first to close and they're the last to open. So, yeah, I'm hoping that like everything gets cleared up over there for you guys. It's a shame that things are getting pushed back, but fingers crossed for like expedited opening, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you, haven't you guys opened for some pretty major acts? Like who have you opened for?
Well, we were lucky to play in Hyde Park with Bob Dylan and Neil Young, which was really something. That was the most incredible day of our lives, really.
Yeah.
Having grown up listening to their music and constant, all of their songs are a constant discovery. So the idea that we were on the same billing as them really blew our minds. But perhaps it pointed to the fact that perhaps we're doing something right, or maybe not. But it was a really incredible day, and we got to play, and it's such a big crowd. And then afterwards, watch their set. In the same place that we played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
really
all sorts of jealous. That's awesome. That's something to be really proud of. So if you could open for or collaborate with anybody once things kind of get back to normal, like who would be first on your list?
Very good question. Well, it'd be obvious to say Dylan or Paul McCartney, but
Paul McCartney, that would be really cool.
Paul McCartney would be pretty incredible.
Yeah.
He put out a collaborations album recently with people like Phoebe Bridgers and a couple other artists, which I really enjoyed. So it's great to hear all that. Paul's still pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
So,
That's for sure. So another question that I had, I like kind of looking to the future band-wise or musically, goal-wise. If you can achieve any one thing that you want most for Hardwicke Circus, what would it be? Like, what's your ultimate goal for the band?
Ultimately, we just want to be able to create and to write songs and to tour and to have a base there that we can, nurture and live inside of. We just love playing live, being able to collectively move forward to a new place, and hopefully people can listen to our music and be somewhat inspired or feel like they love it or they hate it. To get a reaction out of anybody.
Both emotions, nice.
Yeah. Being told I've got to say, like, the worst thing ever is when somebody says, "Oh, that's good," and you think, "Well, good? That's not a great kind of." Tell me something more concrete than that. We want to tour. We've got a lot of plans. Play some bigger support slots, but also just be able to do this as a career would be pretty nice. But we're just wanting to write. Ultimately, we're founded in writing good songs. So long as we can do that and stay on our own path, we'll be pretty happy.
Yeah. Head over to the US too and play some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'd love to come to the US soon, and there is talks of that. Before this kicked off, we were meant to be going to South by Southwest.
Right.
And that was a real something for us. So the fact it was cancelled, we kind of We went to a farmhouse in the Yorkshire Dales, and that's where we wrote a lot of the album. But moving into next year, we'd love to go to the US and to travel, and to line a few more gigs up over there. So yeah.
Speaking of, tell us a little bit more about the album, if you can, what you can tell us.
Well, I always tell people that this is a collection of songs that's come from the in-between. Like, you know, these are songs this is a part of the world that you literally only end up in by accident. You take a wrong turn off the motorway, like, or the highway or whatever, like, you end up in Carlisle, but only by accident. So, you know, people always say to us, why don't you leave your hometown and go live in London or Manchester or Birmingham or wherever? And I always think, well, you know, we grew up here. These are the people we know. These are the stories we've heard, the places we've visited. And it's only our first album, you know. There's something to be said about where, you know, what your hometown kind of throws into you and your creativity. And I think as soon as you try and chase somebody else's dream in another part of the world, you immediately lose that instinct that can only come from your surroundings, your natural surroundings. So I suppose that's what the first album is. It's a collection of our kind of histories as a group that we've made, that we've discovered as we've been traveling around the country, and always kind of gravitated north. And that's what the album is. It's, you know, but it's for people to listen to, man. This is, you know, the 12 songs on there are always slightly different tales to tell. So it's up to other people to make their own verdict.
I couldn't have put that better myself. I love how you kind of mentioned it's just a collection of stories of us, of where we kind of came to be. And I think that's a really good jumping off point for your first album, like a good way to have the world get to know who you are, who you guys are.
I think so. It's a good snapshot into, you know, all the... I've never wanted to be part of something where it's one man or one singer and his band, you know. We're very much six equal creatives that have as, you know, as big a stamp to put on it as I do. And in the record, I think you hear that.
So, I don't know if you can tell us, but what do you guys as a whole, as a band, what do you guys do for fun? I know you said you toured quite a bit, and I know you guys do prison tours, which is still, I can't get over that. That's awesome. But like, what do you guys do to like wind down, to like relax? What do you do for fun? What do you like doing the most?
Usually if I need to wind down, I just have to write a song about it or something. Like, that's my only kind of outlet, really.
Truly a creative.
Maybe foolishly throwing all my eggs in one basket, but that's, you know, we gig and tour and then come north and write and record, and that's kind of our lives at the moment. But I wouldn't have it any other way. That's what's been exciting about the album. It's allowed us to make lots of new music videos, which you can find on our YouTube and Instagram, etc. And do acoustic versions and different styles of the song. So if we're not kind of hard at it in one angle, we're moving in sixth gear at another place. So it's yes, that's how I wind down, by speeding up.
You wind down by working more. All right.
I wish I could. You know, we live in the Lake District, so it's such a lovely part of the world, and I have tried to. We've all kind of climbed a few fells, done a few Wainwrights over the last year, which has been lovely. Or wild swimming, which I would definitely push in everyone's direction.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were gonna hit us with something like skydiving or something crazy like that.
No, I wish, but actually we played at a paragliding festival, which was
no way!
incredible.
That's awesome.
Sorry, yeah, the signal's very bad.
We lost you for a hot second there. You were telling us, okay.
Anything happen? What were we saying?
No, we're good on this end. Everybody okay? No, we're good on this end. So what I was saying, I asked him what what you do for fun, and we kind of left off where I thought he was going to hit us with skydiving, and then he came at me with they played a paragliding festival, and you were in the middle of telling us about how awesome that was, and we lost you. So hit us with it again.
Yes, no, well, I thought that we played. Yeah, this paragliding festival was in Buttermere, which is like South Lakes, kind of. And I said to the guys when they were just like the ones that did the paragliding, I said, "So what's the like technique? What's the skill? Like, how do you paraglide? It looks very dangerous, quite scary, and looks like you need a lot of training." And he just said, "Nah, man, you just run like fuck." So I said, "Well, can I ever go? Can I do that? I can definitely do that." But now they weren't having it. So we didn't get to paraglide, but that was incredible. Like seeing them do all them tricks in the air, mind blowing.
That's insane. Okay, so this has been we're coming up on our time, but it's been some of the best storytelling. So I gotta say that I appreciate you for your time.
No, thank you for having me.
Giving Rock News UK all this wonderful content. So I wanted to go ahead and give you a chance to tell everybody about all of your handles, get the word out. Again, yes. What you want to tell the US and UK right now through Rock News' portal. The floor is yours.
Sure, well, you can get all our Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter is all / Hardwicke Circus. And don't forget the E on the end of Hardwicke.
Thank you. Yes, there's an E.
Very key ingredient. Yes, and website is www. No one uses that anymore. Hardwickecircus.tv. And yeah, our album is out on July the 23rd, Friday, July 23rd. It's been moved back 2 weeks. But in the run up to that, we've got a lot of new content coming out, a lot of new some singles coming out. We've got some acoustic videos, more music videos. And yeah, if you're after really good crack, you can. It's kind of an Irish thing there. You can you can follow all them. You can follow all them.
You're fun, guys.
And we'll be right at you. But yeah, as I say, hopefully we've got a lot of kind of touring planned through end of July in the UK and through autumn with the prisons, and a lot of other stuff that we're working on for the US. So yeah, come see what Carlisle's all about.
Nice. All right, so
no one ever before.
I like to end things off on a kind of weird off the cuff question. So if you had, or you were granted any kind of superpower, anything in the world, what would your superpower be?
Yeah, it would be a saxophone silencer. Well, I just gaze as soon as he hits a terrifyingly high note that scares all the dogs in the house. I can just look at him and say, close them lips, Andrew Phillips, our saxophone player. That would definitely be that would save a lot of hassle and arguments, believe you me. I'm sure your kind of higher notes are far much more pleasant than his, but I'm hoping he watches this as a form of kind of education. So
wow.
No, he won't be saying that. He'll get my gist.
Okay. On that note,
I don't know what superpower would I have. I don't know. I think my favorite movie was The Incredibles when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So name any of them and I'll be down.
I don't know, Jack. I wouldn't want to have Jack's powers because.
No, what was Jack's? What was his?
He could do anything. He was a baby, so he had all those crazy powers. He could get really strong, turn himself on fire, float around. I'd pick all the Jack.
Yeah, deceiving.
Yeah.
All right, Jack it is.
All right. Well, I wanted to thank you so much for your time today and a killer interview. I appreciate you.
No, thank you so much.
I really hope I get to see you guys play live at some point in this crazy world. Hopefully sooner rather than later. So So thanks, guys. If you get a
All
chance
the
as
best.
soon as possible, check out Hardwicke Circus. There's an E on the end of the Hardwicke. Don't forget that. Follow them on Instagram. Check out their Facebook. Head to their website and give them a follow on Spotify. Again, their new album will be out July 23rd. That's correct, right? It got pushed
That's
back a
right.
little bit. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good one.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
guys.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thanks.